'cause I got a golden ticket. I got a golden sun up in the sky.
So you want to hike the JMT in 2017. There's been a couple changes to the permit process this year if you're starting from Yosemite. So I'm going to go over those. For those of you not starting in Yosemite, you should skip this video and go to my getting a JMT permit in 2016 video. I'll have the link posted below. There's been small changes this year, but before I go over the permit details, I'm going to get on my soapbox real quick. Hang in there. There's a reason for the permits. Last year was a record number of PCTers. There were hordes of PCTers coming through the JMT section of the PCT last year. I think it was like 5,000 people. I mean, Crabtree Meadows and Guitar Lake area is a frickin' city for a month in April, May, June timeframe. Plus, with a lot of people wanting to do the JMT, there is a valid reason for the permits. And the permit process is going to change even more. So I'm asking everybody out there to please be good stewards of the land and follow the rules, camp in established camps, don't build new fire rings. There's a very good chance fires are going to be outlawed totally very soon. But just follow the rules, camp on durable surfaces, don't camp on meadows, camp 100 feet, 200 feet from water, and just be considerate and let everybody have a wilderness experience. Because if we don't do those things, they are currently reviewing the processes right now, and in 2 years they're probably going to change the process. And what some of the things they're considering, which are unheard of in the Sierra right now, is having designated camping areas, or even having permits for specific camping areas. So you would have to like say where you're going to camp every night, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of getting out in the wilderness. One of the beauties of the JMT, even though it's pretty crowded right now, in my opinion, some people would call it complete wilderness. I think it's crowded. If you just walk 100 yards off trail and stay away from the established camp spots, you can find total wilderness and get a spot by yourself. But they're reviewing all those things. Chances are they'll probably come up with a process where you will just have a couple of areas that a permit will be required, a camping permit in the really popular areas. So if you just hike through those areas, you'd be okay. But a lot of this is going to be decided on how we behave in the backcountry. So the Yosemite Conservancy, I believe, is the agency overseeing this process. So look it up online if you want to participate in that process. So let's all behave out there. And right now, our public places and public lands are under more attack than ever. So the goal is to keep these lands available to everybody. Don't buy into this that we're going to take control of these lands at the state level. That means giving control over to a few people. Okay, let's get on to getting a permit for 2017. So for this year, they've only changed one thing, and they've made it easier for people applying for permits. They call it a lottery because it's like winning the freaking lottery. It's so hard to get this permit from starting in Yosemite. So the thing they added this year was there's a 21-day window to put your date of when you want to start. And that sounds crazy. You have to put a 21-day range of when you can take a permit, but that's what it's going to take to get your permit if you want to start in Yosemite. So the reason, I know you want to start on a certain date and there's planning, but last year 95% of the permits, daily requests were rejected. That's how many people were applying. So you got to jump through the hoops and follow the rules. And I'm going to go over the form later on in this video. But what the 21-day window does, it will allow you to get in. If you don't get picked on one day, you will automatically be in the very next day, and they'll send you an email that they received your request, and they'll send you a daily update whether you got rejected or got accepted. And if you got rejected, you know you're in the next day. So the good thing is you get 21 days where you just send in one form and you got a chance of getting in. So Again, check my 2016 video on how to get the JMT permit and for other options to get on the trail if you can't get this permit or you can't deal with planning on a 21-day window. So let's go over the form in detail. So here we go. Oh, by the way, the reason I'm set up in kind of a weird place here, I was just out checking out a garden out here in Folsom, and that's Folsom Dam behind me. I was hoping I'd get buzzed by a bald eagle. There are 2 bald eagles flying around up there. I even saw an osprey. This in Folsom, California. That's pretty unusual. So that's one of the reasons I'm a supporter of the permit process, because things like that have come back, and these are biologists and park managers and people that care about the resources. They know what they're doing, so please support them. Say, off my soapbox, and let's get on the trail. So here's details on the form. Okay, here's the magic form to get your JMT lottery request entered. Now again, this is just if you're starting in Yosemite. If you're not starting in Yosemite, you're going to use the Inyo National Forest process on recreation.gov, which you can see in my other video. So nothing else changed this year. That's still a 45 a day quota going over Donahue Pass. So here's the form. So what you want to do is just follow the directions. It's pretty simple. So right here you got enter preference. Most people want to start from Happy Isles because that's the whole, you get the whole trail. So 1 and 2 are probably going to be your main options. But I would fill out every single one of these options because that'll increase your chances of getting a permit. So Glacier Point, I think Glacier Point would be a great place to start. So I'm going to put that as my number 3. I'm going to put Sunrise as 5, Lyell Canyon as 4. So think about these options. Happy Isles, the Sunrise Merced Lake pass-through, it asks you to put your first night's camp location. You have to manually enter this. So look at a map and figure out where you want to camp. If you're doing the pass-through, you have to at least get past the Half Dome, where the Half Dome Trail veers off the JMT. But I wouldn't camp there because that's bear central. That's the most likely area on the whole GMT where you're going to get unruly bears that are used to messy people that are climbing up the Clouds Rest or up to Half Dome. So I would continue up to like Clouds Rest Junction, or if you can make it all the way to Sunrise Lakes, that'd be awesome. But that's a pretty long haul. That's about 17 miles, I think, 18 miles. So go around the Clouds Rest Junction, and then you can even anywhere between there and the Half Dome Junction. If you're going to climb Half Dome, you can just leave your stuff and day hike Half Dome early in the morning before the crowds get up there. The Happy Isles, the Little Yosemite Valley option, you have no choice. You have to camp in Little Yosemite Valley. Same with the Glacier Point option. You have to camp in Little Yosemite Valley. Sunrise Lakes option, that comes in off of Tioga Pass Road. It's about 10 miles down the road from Lyell Canyon, the Tuolumne Meadows start. And the bus does service that. It's an okay option. You actually kind of go backwards a little bit. You hike towards Clouds Rest. So if you want to get in a Clouds Rest option, that'd be kind of a cool way to start. And then it hits up on the meets up with the John Muir Trail back at the Sunrise High Sierra Camp. That's why I put that as a camping option. You can type in whatever you want in here. Clouds Rest you could put in if you're going to go near there. Whatever you want to put in there, but it has to be something that the rangers can identify with that is somewhere in the backcountry. It has to be in the backcountry. So with that option, you miss the first 17 and a half miles of the JMT. Oh, by the way, with the Glacier Point option, the Glacier Point Trail, it's a great starting option. Glacier Point, if you haven't been there, you should go there. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful vista point. I think it's a great start to the hike. There's some bus logistics. You got to take a tour bus out of Yosemite Valley. to get up there. So that's kind of a pain, but you also start high, and it meets up with the JMT at the top of Nevada Falls. So you're gonna miss the first 3 or 4 miles of the traditional JMT starting at Happy Isles. So if you want to do the whole thing, just if you can stay at the backpackers camp, do a day hike up to the top of Nevada Falls, and you can take them. If the mist trail is much more scenic. You can take the traditional JMT, which kind of splits off at the bottom of Vernal Falls. I just take the mist trail all the way up. It's really spectacular and scenic, and also very crowded. But just do a day hike. It's about a 6 mile day hike. That way you can say you did the whole GMT. So Sunrise Lakes, not as a desirable option to me. Or Lyell Canyon, which is a lot of people are starting from Lyell Canyon. It's a great place to have your base camp, especially if you're coming from out of town. There's a store, there's services there, there's a post office, you can have stuff shipped there, and there's a backpackers campground, and there's a traditional campground that you can usually get, a car campground, which is kind of nice. You can line up at 8 in the morning and get one of those. Then you have your own private camp spot to spread out, and you can stay there a couple days and get acclimated, do some day hikes, and it's just a really pretty area to hang out. So the thing about these Happy Isles ones, there are no walk-up permits. They don't set aside any walk-up permits for those. So you have to get it. You have to win the lottery, get the golden ticket to get those. Lyell Canyon does set aside 15 a day, I believe, as walk-ups. But with the demand being so high now, I would imagine you'd have to sleep overnight at the wilderness station there to get a permit that way. So that's the Lyell Canyon option. You do miss the first about, I don't know, 27 miles of the JMT. Another option is you could get a camp spot there if you can't get the traditional Happy Isles. If you're dead set on doing it, the best way to do it would hike from Lyell Canyon, head on over on the shuttle down to the Tenaya Lake, or not Tenaya Lake, I guess it's Cathedral Lake Trailhead, and then day hike down to Yosemite Valley and catch the bus back up. It's a long day hike. If you like torture, you can start at the bottom of the hill and come all the way up, and you can walk back into your camp at Tuolumne Meadows. But that way you can get in the whole trail. But with a day pack, it's doable. Do not bring any sleeping things on that hike, because the ranger will nail you, because they think you're cheating the system. Don't cheat the system. The rangers will be checking. These permits are there for a reason, to preserve the experience for everybody. So after you choose all those, because that's going to increase your odds 1 through 5. And now you're going to go put your exit trailhead. If you're doing the whole JMT, you're going to come out at Whitney Portal. But there's other options. This applies to anybody that's going over Donahue Pass. Maybe you're going all the way down to Cottonwood Lakes, or you're going to jump out at Devil's Postpile or Mammoth Lakes. You can choose those, but we're going to choose Whitney Portal, and that allows you to exit out over Mount Whitney. So your trip length, put your number of days in there. Guess on the longer side. The rangers aren't going to kill you if you're off a day or two. That's the beauty of the Sierra right now and the current permit process. You can wander around. Once you get out there, you might find a place you like. You can do some side trips. You're not stuck to camp wherever. You can camp wherever you want, but you want to come out somewhere around your total trip length. So guess how long it's going to take. Put number of people. Obviously, the fewer people, the better odds of you getting on the trail. Then there's this other option. Say you have a friend that's not really committed. This minimum number of people acceptable. You can just say, well, I'm going to just put 1. If I don't get the 2, I'd rather get the 1. And that Joe guy I hike with, I don't really like him that much anyway, so I'll just go solo. You're going to meet a lot of people on the trail anyway. So that's an option if you want to do that. But if you want your buddy to go, keep that at 2. So it asks you if you want to do Half Dome. If you haven't done Half Dome, do Half Dome. It's really cool. And the beauty of being on the backcountry and doing Half Dome, you'll have a head start on all the tourists, and you can get up there right at sunrise. I'd get up at dawn and hike up that way. Or if you're hiking up to Little Yosemite Valley your first day, that's what your permit was, you could set up camp and then get up there and watch the sunset from up there, which is really cool. I've actually slept on top of Half Dome. It's awesome. That's one good thing about being old. It's not allowed anymore. But do Half Dome if you want to. Don't worry about it if you don't. And then this is the new thing right here, this date range. The date range is actually, sounds crazy, but it's to your advantage. In the old system, you had to send in your request every single frickin' day. And it was just turning into a nightmare. So they figured it's easier for them and it's easier for you. Problem is, if you're planning coming in from a long way away, it's going to make it harder for you to plan. So your first desired starting date, you have to go out 168 days exactly from when you want to leave. And that's your first starting date. With this new date range lottery, you can actually go out to 170. You can send it 2 days in advance. So put your first desired starting date, and then you can go 21 days. And what they're going to do with this is they'll send you an email saying, we got your request. And every day, if you get picked for the lottery, you'll say it was successful. If you didn't get picked, they'll say you weren't successful this time. You will be re-entered in the lottery tomorrow. And you just get an email every day. So it's automatically done for 3 weeks for you. Hopefully you get it by then. But if you don't, you're going to have to start looking at other options. So that's new, and I think it's a pretty good thing. So that'll be helpful to you if you're. Unfortunately, last year a lot of people were waiting 3 or 4 weeks, sending a fax in every single freaking day. So you put your trip leader information. I believe your trip leader has to be there to pick up the permit too. Address, phone numbers, all that stuff. Your fees, don't worry about getting charged. You're only going to get charged when you get chosen. There won't be any charge if you don't get chosen. So the preferable way, you can mail it if you have to. If you don't have a computer, or I just go to like a Kinko's or something and have them fax it for me. Fax it to this number. That's the easiest way. You don't call them, you'll never get through, and it just doesn't work. Use the fax number, or you can mail it. And if you do have trouble with the form, they say you can write it out by hand and print it out and fax it that way. But the preferred method is to use their online thing, print it out, and then fax it. So that's it. Get in on the lottery, and good luck. And it is worth it. It's unfortunate that it has to be this hard, but it's so popular right now. I've seen this before where it gets popular and then it kind of wanes again. So I think it's going to be popular for quite a while though. So if you have any questions, put a comment in there. I'll try and answer them when I get a chance.
I never thought my life could be anything but a catastrophe, but suddenly I begin to see a bit of good luck for me. 'Cause I got a golden ticket, I got a golden twinkle in my eye. I never had a chance to shine, never a happy song to sing, but suddenly half the world is mine. What an amazing